Welcome back to the United News, your ultimate destination for all things Manchester United. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into what could be the most dramatic transfer window in recent United history. We've got three massive stories that are shaking Old Trafford to its core, and trust me, you're going to want to stay until the very end because some of these developments will absolutely blow your mind. First up, the Jadon Sancho saga has taken yet another twist. The £72 million man who hasn't kicked a ball for United since August 2023 is finally set to leave Old Trafford, but here's the kicker, Juventus have just proposed something that nobody saw coming. They're offering not one, not two, but three different players in a straight swap deal. We're talking about Douglas Luiz, the Premier League veteran who knows English football inside out, Dusan Vlahovic, the Serbian goal machine who's been terrorizing Serie A defenses, and Timothy Weah, the son of Ballon d'Or winner George Weah. But which one would actually strengthen United's squad, and more importantly, which one do Juventus actually want to give up? Then we have the Marcus Rashford bombshell that's got United fans divided right down the middle. Our academy graduate, our number 10, the player who once carried this club's attacking hopes, is now facing the most uncertain period of his entire career. Aston Villa had the chance to make his loan permanent for £40 million, but they said no. They literally paid a £5 million penalty just to avoid signing him. Now Bayern Munich have entered the picture, but here's the thing that should worry every United fan. Are we their first choice? Or are we just the backup plan if they can't get Luis Diaz from Liverpool? And finally, prepare yourselves for this one, because we're about to discuss a player who claims he's the best deep-lying playmaker in the entire world. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, the Turkish maestro who helped Inter Milan win Serie A and reach 2 Champions League finals, has just made the boldest statement you'll hear all summer. He's ranked himself above Rodri, above Toni Kroos, above Joshua Kimmich, and he's explained exactly why he believes he's better than all of them. But here's where it gets really interesting for United fans. Reliable transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that we've already made contact with his agents, and Inter Milan want €40 million for his signature. These aren't just transfer rumors, folks. These are the stories that could define Manchester United's entire season. After finishing 15th in the Premier League and losing the Europa League final to Tottenham, these decisions could be the difference between getting back to where we belong or sliding even further down the table. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's break down every single detail of what could be the most important few weeks in Manchester United's recent history. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's happening at Old Trafford and what it means for the future of our beloved club. Let's get into it. 3 big stories that could change Manchester United's future. Hey United family! I know you've been waiting for the latest updates on what's happening at Old Trafford this summer. Well, grab your coffee because I've got some serious news to share with you about 3 players who could completely change our season. We're talking about Jadon Sancho finally getting his move sorted, Marcus Rashford's uncertain future, and a surprise target that nobody saw coming. Trust me, by the end of this post, you'll know exactly where we stand and what to expect in the coming weeks. The Jadon Sancho saga, finally coming to an end? Let's start with the elephant in the room, Jadon Sancho. Remember when we signed him for £72 million back in 2021? Those were the days when we thought we'd solved our right-wing problem forever. Fast forward to today, and the club is desperately trying to get him off our books. Here's where we stand right now. Sancho hasn't played for United since August 2023 when Erik ten Hag decided he'd had enough. That's almost 2 years of a £72 million player sitting on the sidelines. Think about that for a moment. 2 years. The situation got even worse when Chelsea decided they didn't want to keep him after his loan spell. Not only did they reject the chance to sign him permanently, but they actually paid £5 million just to avoid having to buy him. When a club pays money to not sign a player, you know things are bad. But here's the interesting part. Juventus have stepped up with a potential solution. Instead of trying to pay cash for Sancho, they're offering us a player swap deal. They've put 3 players on the table, and honestly, some of them might actually help our team. The first option is Douglas Luiz, the Brazilian midfielder who spent 5 years at Aston Villa. He knows the Premier League well, and we definitely need help in midfield. The problem? He couldn't get regular games at Juventus last season, starting only 6 matches. That's a bit worrying, isn't it? The second option is much more exciting, Dusan Vlahovic. This guy has scored 58 goals for Juventus since joining them in 2022. We've been crying out for a proper striker, and Vlahovic could be exactly what we need. But here's the catch. Reports suggest he's not too keen on joining us. Can you blame him after our recent struggles? The third option is Timothy Weah, son of the legendary George Weah. He's young and has potential, but he's also pretty unproven at the top level. Would we really want to swap a £72 million player for someone who's still trying to make his mark? The financial side makes sense though. Sancho is earning £250,000 per week, which is over £13 million per year. That's a massive burden on our wage bill, especially for a player who's not even in the squad. A swap deal could solve this problem while potentially bringing in someone who can actually contribute. The clock is ticking on this one. With only 12 months left on Sancho's contract, this summer is our last chance to get any value for him. If we can't move him now, he'll leave for free next year. That would be a disaster for a club that's already made too many expensive mistakes. Marcus Rashford, the academy graduate's uncertain future. Now let's talk about Marcus Rashford, and this one hits differently because he's one of our own. Marcus came through our academy, scored crucial goals for us, and gave us some incredible moments over the years. But right now, his future at Old Trafford looks more uncertain than ever. After his loan spell at Aston Villa, Marcus is back at United, but Villa decided not to trigger their £40 million option to buy him permanently. When a club like Villa, who have money and ambition, don't think a player is worth £40 million, that tells you something about his current situation. The really interesting development is that Bayern Munich are reportedly interested in signing him. Yes, the German giants see Marcus as a potential solution for their left-wing position. They like his versatility and the fact that he can also play as a central striker when needed. But here's what's got me thinking, are we Bayern's first choice, or are we the backup plan? Reports suggest they're also interested in Liverpool's Luis Diaz and have already made an approach for him. This makes you wonder about our standing in world football right now. Other clubs are also keeping an eye on the situation. Newcastle United have been mentioned as potential suitors, which makes sense given their ambitions. Barcelona have apparently shown interest too, but again, reportedly as a Plan B option. That phrase keeps coming up, doesn't it? From United's perspective, the club seems open to letting Marcus leave, either permanently or on another loan deal. It's not necessarily because they don't rate him, but maybe because they recognize that a fresh start might be best for everyone involved. Marcus himself seems professional about the whole situation. Reports suggest that if a move doesn't happen, he's planning to return to training next month and knuckle down. That's the kind of attitude you want to see from any player, regardless of the circumstances. The question is, what's best for Manchester United right now? Are we better off keeping Marcus and hoping he rediscovers his form, or should we use the resources to improve other areas of the squad? It's not an easy decision, especially when we're talking about an academy graduate who's given us so many great memories. The surprise target? Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Now here's the story that nobody saw coming. Manchester United are reportedly interested in Inter Milan's Hakan Çalhanoğlu, a 31-year-old Turkish midfielder who thinks he's the best deep-lying playmaker in the world. And you know what? He might actually be right. Let me tell you why this guy is so interesting. Since joining Inter Milan in 2021, Çalhanoğlu has won the Serie A title and helped his team reach 2 Champions League finals. Those are the kind of achievements that show a player knows how to perform when it matters most. But here's what makes him really special, his confidence. In an interview earlier this year, he ranked himself as the #1 deep-lying playmaker in the world, ahead of players like Rodri from Manchester City and Toni Kroos. That takes some serious self-belief. His reasoning is actually pretty smart though. He says other players in his position just make safe passes to keep possession, but he's always looking for the killer pass that can create scoring chances. He's not interested in playing it safe with sideways passes that don't really help the team move forward. Çalhanoğlu also brings something unique with his long-range shooting ability. Most midfielders who score goals do it from close range, but he scores his from 25 to 30 meters out or from free kicks. That's a special skill that could add another dimension to our attack. The transfer situation is getting complicated though. United have reportedly made contact with his agents, but we're not the only ones interested. Fulham have also reached out, and there's been interest from clubs in Saudi Arabia too. The real issue is that Çalhanoğlu actually wants to join Galatasaray in Turkey. That's his preferred destination because it's his home country and Galatasaray is where Turkish football legends are made. But there's a big problem: money. Galatasaray can only offer about 15 million euros for the transfer, while Inter Milan want close to 40 million euros. That's a huge gap that's going to be very difficult to bridge. This is where Manchester United come into the picture because we can definitely afford what Inter are asking for. The question is whether we should spend 40 million euros on a 31-year-old player. On one hand, he brings exactly what we've been missing: creativity from deep positions, long-range shooting ability, and the experience of winning trophies at the highest level. On the other hand, that's a lot of money for a player who might only have 2 or 3 good seasons left in him. We could use that money to buy a younger player who could serve the club for many more years. What does this all mean for United? Looking at these 3 situations together, they paint a picture of where Manchester United are right now. After finishing 15th in the Premier League last season and losing the Europa League final to Tottenham, everyone knows changes need to happen. The Sancho situation shows how expensive our mistakes have been. A £72 million player who hasn't played for almost 2 years is a massive burden, both financially and in terms of squad planning. Getting him off our books would free up resources for other areas. The Rashford situation is more emotional because he's one of our own. But sometimes in football, what's best for the player and what's best for the club aren't the same thing. If Marcus can rediscover his form elsewhere, maybe that's better for everyone. The Çalhanoğlu interest shows that we're looking at experienced players who can make an immediate impact. After our struggles last season, we need players who know how to win games when it matters most. The big questions moving forward. As we head into the crucial weeks of the transfer window, there are some big questions that need answering. Will Juventus actually offer us a player we want in exchange for Sancho? And if they do, will that player actually want to join us? Is Marcus Rashford's time at United really over, or is there still a chance for him to prove himself under new management? Should we spend big money on a 31-year-old like Çalhanoğlu, or would that money be better spent on younger players who can serve us for longer? These decisions will shape not just our squad for next season, but potentially our direction for years to come. Getting them right is crucial if we want to get back to competing for trophies. What happens next? The next few weeks are going to be absolutely crucial for Manchester United. Pre-season training is starting soon, and we need clarity on who will be part of our squad for the new season. The Sancho situation needs to be resolved quickly. Whether that's through the Juventus swap deal or another solution, we can't afford to have this drag on much longer. The players' wages are too high, and the distraction isn't helping anyone. Marcus Rashford's future also needs to be decided soon. If he's staying, he needs to be properly integrated into pre-season preparations. If he's leaving, we need time to potentially adjust our tactical plans or bring in a replacement. The Çalhanoğlu situation is interesting because it could develop quickly. If Galatasaray can't find the extra money to match Inter's asking price, we could have a real chance to sign him. But we need to decide if that's really what we want to do. Final thoughts. Here's the thing, United family. This summer is about more than just individual transfers. It's about showing that we've learned from our past mistakes and are making smarter decisions going forward. The Sancho saga taught us that big money signings don't always work out, no matter how much potential a player has. The Rashford situation shows us that sometimes even homegrown talent needs a fresh start to reach their potential again. The Çalhanoğlu interest suggests we're looking at proven winners who can help us immediately, even if they're not long-term solutions. Sometimes that's exactly what a struggling team needs. Whatever happens over the next few weeks, I'll be here keeping you updated on every twist and turn. This transfer window is far from over, and I have a feeling there are still plenty of surprises to come. Keep checking back with the United news because things can change very quickly in football. One day we're struggling to find buyers for our players, the next day we could be unveiling exciting new signings. What do you think about these 3 situations? Should we do whatever it takes to get Sancho out? Is it time to let Marcus go and wish him well? And would you be excited about signing a 31-year-old midfielder who thinks he's the best in the world? Let me know your thoughts, and remember, whatever happens, we're all in this together. Keep the red flag flying high, and I'll see you in the next update.